Hey, we're going to start a new unit, and it involves mapping. We're going to start with the Minnesota road map. And if you notice, we have a pile nicely organized, and that's how it's going to be when class is over. And you just grab one of these for yourself. This is not partner work. You can certainly work alongside a partner, but you're working on your own. You're going to have your own map. You'll set it on the table and open it up. All right, so here it is. There's a spot right down here. This back part is a close-up of various Minnesota cities. We don't generally need that. If you do, you can always look. But if you do that, it'll fit right on the table quite nicely. The first task is for you to use the the letters and numbers to locate cities on the map. So if you look, it says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and continues this way. And if I go over here, you'll see it goes A, B, C. So it gives us coordinates to find things on the map. The first direction tells you to find F1. Here's 1. And then I go over to where I find F. And what I find right there, F1, is the Northwest Anglo State Forest. Now that I've found it, the directions tell me, hey, I should put NW where that is. All right, so do that. Next, I'm being asked to find the coordinates of other cities. So I'm just going to do Moorhead because it's over here and it's relatively easy. If you look over here, I would accept 9 or 10, but I think it's more on 10. So it's 10 and I go straight up. 10 and, sorry, it's not focusing, 10 and B. So for Moorhead, it would be 10B. So you're going to do that same process for Cold Spring and Minneapolis. Once you're done with that, you're going to find these other ones and you're going to place them on here. But how do you find, let's say, Alexandria? Well, for that, you need to use the index to cities. So it's over on the right side of the map. Okay, and let's say I'm trying to find Alexandria. I don't know where it is on the map. Well, I just look alphabetically, and here's Alexandria right there, and it says 13E. So I locate it, I find E, and I find 13, and there's Alexandria right there. And then I need to label it on this map just like I did this. So there's a bunch of them that you'll be doing there. Your next task is to find distances. And we find distances on this map in 3 different ways. The first way is to get a blank piece of paper and use the scale of miles on this map. And I'm just going to use this piece of paper itself. So in just a moment, I'll show you how to do that. Since we use miles when we're traveling, and we won't be in science, we'll go with the mile scale. So if you notice over on this side, it says 0 and then it says 20. I'm going to go ahead and put a mark there and a mark there. And I'm going to keep on doing that. So these are each going to be 10-mile distances. I'm going to continue doing that all the way down my page. And then I can use this paper itself to measure distances. Now that I've done that, I'm going to go back through and number all these and just counting up by 10. So 10, 20, 30, and so on. Now that I've made my scale, I'm going to use it. And the directions tell you to find the distance between, let's see, Cold Spring and Alexandria. So we've already found Alexandria. We'd use the scale of the map, but I remember where Alexandria is here. And I'm going to put my paper right to the center, right there in the center of Alexandria. That's the city center. And we're going to measure from city center to city center. Cold Spring, here's St. Cloud. Trying to find 23 here, I'm blind. Elk River, I'm way too far south. Okay, there's Cold Spring. And I have to make sure I'm still on Alexandria. So I go from here to here. So this is just as the crow flies. So if you look, I would say it's about 52 miles. It's 1 tick above 50. So I'd say 52 miles. So I'll put 52 right here. continue with the other cities and finish that up. And then there's a second way to determine, but we're going to find the distance along roads. So we're not going to do as the crow flies, we're actually going to follow along roads. So the first one, it says Richmond to Litchfield. And if we look over here, Richmond's easy enough to find. Hopefully you can find that on a map. So here's Richmond, and Litchfield is directly south right here. So you have to take County Road 22. And if you notice right here, it says 10. That means it's 10 miles from Richmond to this junction in Eden Valley of 55. So that's 10 miles. And they go from 55 to, I'm trying to decide, to 12. It's another 12 miles. So 10 plus 12 is 22. And then there's this little tiny section of road before you get to the center of town. So it's 2. So it's 10 plus 12 plus 2, which is 24. So on here, you're going to put 24 miles. So finish the rest of these, and then the next section I'll teach you another way. Now the easiest, probably, I think, way to determine distance is to use this. And basically you just line up two cities, and it has to be a major city, so Rockville doesn't appear on here because it's not big enough, or Cold Spring or Richmond, but St. Cloud does. So it's helpful if you're traveling between bigger cities. And I'm going to zoom in just a little bit. Okay, so let's say I wanted to find the distance between Albert Lea and Alexandria. Well, I go over from the top one sideways, and I just go straight up from the next one, from the one that's below, upward. So the distance between those two is 224. The directions tell you to do St. Cloud to Willmar. Okay, so here's St. Cloud. Okay, I'm going to follow this over directly horizontal because Willmar is down here below. So I'm going to look to where St. Cloud and Willmar intersect. Willmar's right along this dark line, and it's hard to do this while I'm videotaping, but I get it as 60 miles. It's the intersection of the two. So you'll write 60 miles here and continue that process for the rest of the cities. There are some miscellaneous questions involving lakes, so it's going to be some of the bigger lakes. So here's Mille Lacs Lake, here's Leech Lake, Lake Winnie, the Red Lakes. When I asked about the Red Lakes, you could do either of the Red Lakes. The scale of miles, once again, is right here, and there's a question about how many miles is there in a kilometer. You could figure it by dividing 34 by 20, or it tells you right here 1 mile equals this many kilometers. Okay, and you're going to measure the distance in kilometers for one thing, just in case you had an interest in doing that. The next task is to use a compass rose. So hopefully you know the phrase, never eat soggy wheat. And that'll get you the cardinal directions. But halfway between north and east is northeast. So halfway between south and east is southeast. In southeast, this is going to be your base. If we're over here, if we're a little bit more east than southeast, we call it east, southeast. If we're a little south of southeast, we're going to call it south, southeast. It's always going to have SE at the end. Continue with the rest of your map. Next, you're going to tell me the distance, or the direction, not the distance, from Cold Spring to International Falls. So we have to find Cold Spring, and Cold Spring's right there. And I'm going to back out a little bit. And International Falls, once again, you'll probably have to use the index to cities to figure it out, but International Falls is right there. So what I do is I put my pen, I point from Cold Spring to International Falls, and it's almost straight north, but if you look at your, I would say it's pointing a little bit east of north, so it's north-northeast. So you're gonna put north-northeast for your direction from Cold Spring. You have to pay real particular attention between the from and to. Okay, so continue with that. The next part has you checking out the map's legend, and that's located in the top right corner, and it'll ask you to show the symbols, maybe for an airport or an airplane and things like that, different road types. And then it might ask a little bit about boundaries. And for that, if you're wondering what a county boundary is, you look at the map here, the county boundaries, you just have to look. Here's a county, it's Morrison County. It's got the yellow, it's a long line, short line, long line, short line. So that's a county boundary. A state boundary you'd find between two states, so that's where you'd look. Where do you think you'd look for an international boundary? Finally, you're going to be taking a look at some roads and routes that you'd take to get from one place to another. So you'll locate and put some big cities on the map. I think they tend to be around the outside, so check for the outside. And you're going to be drawing some routes. And the very last thing you're going to be doing is using blue to carefully, and quality matters here, carefully draw these bodies of water, the Mississippi River, Minnesota River. And once again, a lot of these are along the outside boundary of Minnesota. So do that in blue. Good job.